and lo, a great multitude, which no man could number, of all nations, and kindreds, and people and tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed.
I don't think people understand the nature of this situation right here. This temple that went through a domestic terrorist event in Michigan, you have never seen this much police presence. We never seen this much response in 9/11. We never seen this response at any other public school that went through an active shooter drill. And why are we talking about active shooter drills? This brother from Michigan sent me this. January 30th, they already went through an active shooter drill at this particular temple. January 30th. So you know I'm going to do my due diligence with numerology. The time of January 30 to Friday, March 13th was 1 month, 1 week, and 6 days. You turn that upside down, it's 9/11. They want to make a show that they not only control the government and politicians through blackmail, that they also control police departments. If you know anything about the Fraternal Order of Police, it is a Masonic branch of law enforcement. What was police departments before their inception? Slave patrols. That's what they were. They were sent out to catch runaway slaves. If you understand it from that perspective, fast forward a couple of centuries, or maybe even a couple of decades, where the ADL got its start. Some Jewish man did something to some white girl on his property. A Negro security guard found this little white girl. He accused this Negro security guard that it was him. So you know how wild it had to be in segregation, racism days, and lynching and murdering days of Negroes in this country, that they chose not to believe this Jewish man, but believed this Negro security guard. So they ended up lynching this man, this Jewish man, and that's how the ADL got its start. So you have to understand the animosity behind this lie that vindicated this Negro security guard. So you have to think of all the police brutality victims that were unalived by police and their connection to Freemasonry, like Trayvon Martin, his dad is a Prince Hart Freemason. Lando Castile, his uncle, Mason. So their connection to unaliving Negroes for the sake of getting us mad at authority or mad at white folk for almost like the revenge of this man Frank and how the ADL got its start. I mean, there was an incident not too long ago where police littered this individual's car up with bullets. It's crazy the amount of bullets they poured into this individual's car. And then I find out he's 33 years old. Then I go run his name through Gematria, and his name comes out to 33. So you think the days of slave patrols is over? I have not yet seen a police brutality ritual done on any other individual other than black and brown people. You have to understand the mentality of what you're actually dealing with. And they're doing all this false flagging, all of these rituals for this particular land that's been given to them since 1940. After that, to enlarge this land, they have to go through all of these false flags, all of these lies, and unaliving Negroes for rituals, and a country is not theirs for this particular land that's supposed to be flowing with milk and honey. Oh, the River Jordan. I mean, if they continue to lie about something that's so small as a terrorist event in Michigan, what else could they actually be lying about? Same lies that people get destroyed for, the same lies that get people bombed for, the same lies that got a whole religious sect or religious doctrine to follow through with these lies and bring it in the Antichrist, who they supposedly are supposed to be against in every single church service that their pastor mentions the Antichrist. They're supposed to be against this individual, and yet they're in favor in bringing this individual into this existence because they do not have the truth and what these people actually control and the lies that they've been spreading since their inception.
I want to give all the praises and the honor to Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shah Bahashim Uracha Hakwadash, And double honors to the elder apostles and the bishops of Great Millstone. Honors as well to the other elders, you brethren, you fellow believers of the truth. Shalom to you brothers and sisters. Shalom to the elect. I just want to go in this video. I'll try to just make a couple short, quick scriptures. The nature of the video. I wanted to go in another direction, but this man here, I don't know who he is. He brought out a lot of information, things I used to study before I came into the truth. So I kind of knew about some of the numerology, but I knew, Esau's tactics and how all this is set up. That's what you learn first, this selling out in Hollywood, Hollyweird. A lot of things that just didn't make sense to me. I did a lot of studying on. Then I came into the truth, and it made it much easier. But I don't follow on the numerology like that. Except when brothers send me something to say 144, and I said, I never really ride it out with that. But it's spiritual. We're trying to get out of here, and that's the thing. We're all looking for the Lord to return, right? But anyway, I'm gonna jump to Psalm 7 real quick. It says, in fact, now if I see 144 or the time is 144, I'm like, it kind of awakens you. You know what I'm saying? It keeps you aware. Anyway, where am I want to go at? It says, Psalm 7:10. Don't let the wickedness of the wicked come to an end, right? But establish the just, for the righteous God trieth the hearts and reigns. My defense is of God, which saveth the upright in heart. God judgeth the righteous, right? And God is angry with the wicked every day. If he turns not, right, he will whet his sword. He have bent his bow and made it ready. So just to go back to what I like to say, these people that the so-called black community, black Christians say are the people of God, are the same ones that believe all prophecies are fulfilled except with them. These are the same people will tell me, since you're a Hebrew Israelite, Galatians 3:29, if you're of Christ, then you're Abraham's seed. But he'll never go to them and say, well, I'm of Christ, so I am Abraham's seed, so I'm you now. You see, how it doesn't make any sense. But these people are well beloved. The media has all of them, a lot of people influenced. They're reading Ezekiel 9:4, kill maids and little children. And yep, in Lebanon, the hospital's blowing up, children's body parts laying everywhere. Nobody cares. You see what I'm saying? So not only they got a system backing behind them, in fact, what I found out is Edomites or other so-called white people, they now have a problem with them. The only people really support them is the Christian church, and mainly the black Christian church. Like Anthony Mitchell is supported by them. Yeah, the one that wear all black with the Nike Airs and that black-ass forehead. Yeah, him. He's not going to say anything bad. In fact, he's going to tell his congregation they're the people of God and respect them. But somehow they came up with this A and a D and a L. But then through the racism, they used us with, what's that? I forgot that. I can't remember what they called it. Whereas for the Negro organization or whatever it's called, the NAACP. The problem is when you deal with that, we were a people carried in slavery, families broken up, destroyed, our spirit wiped out of existence. And then after they broke us and said, well, now you're Christians, this is who you are. This was the agenda of them, these people anyway, to say that they're the real people of God and you're not. So then they start rewarding us for not being the people of God. They set up these schools, the HBCUs, which Richard Humphreys, one of those Edomites, who was a Quaker and still owned slaves, by the way. but we sided with it. We got rewards. We felt gifted because our master said they gave us an A, and they set up programs to teach other so-called blacks. That's the same thing they did with Christianity. They used the tares that grew up and set them heads over congregations. In fact, they took the Bible from us, the way we read it actually, and then they gave it to us in another form. Remember, we learned different languages. And even though we couldn't even read it that well, they were so afraid that they told us not to read it anyway. And then they set different clergy up, like with the 501c3, which came along later. But they set people up during slavery to teach us the Bible the way they felt it should be taught. So you can see it was a lot of influence. But meanwhile, these same people that say they're the people of God got to restore themselves many years later and say that they were the people, the chosen people of God. And then with that and religion, they controlled the wealth, they controlled religion, they controlled all of that. You control wealth and religion, you control the economy, you got the power. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, let me go on down to 13. He also prepared for him the instruments of death. He ordained his arrows against the persecutors. Behold, he travaileth with iniquity, and have conceived mischief, which is high level of evil, brought forth falsehood. Yeah, that's what they did. You want to know who Esau is? Read the book of Obadiah. They dwell in the cleft of the rocks. Habitation is high. Every city in America and around the world, right? Habitation is high. Set their nest amongst the stars. Yeah, that's how you know. It's real simple. But Bible Christians and scholars would say, well, that was talking about Nebuchadnezzar or some other crazy stuff. Who knows? Because they don't believe. They was telling us that the Bible, after the death of the Messiah, now the prophecies all been fulfilled. Basically, just stay out of it now. Don't worry about the Old Testament. Don't worry about anything because it's all fulfilled. This is what they taught us. The laws was fulfilled. Prophecies were fulfilled. So that left us in a state of docileness, you know. They left us in a state of being docile. Laws done away with. Prophecy done away with. No wonder we had nothing to look forward to or to look up to. Then you gave us white Jesus, and you shoved it down our throats until we woke up, and then you decided to say, now this color doesn't matter. The laws don't matter. The color don't matter. Damn. They really put the numbers on us. You know, the laws don't matter anymore. His color don't matter. The laws don't matter. Everything's done away with. No wonder we're destroyed. And yet these people who stole the identity says they keep Torah and that other book, Babylonian book, but say they don't kill each other. And that's why their crime is down. And they'll brag about it after if you are leaders of the world and you against crime, wouldn't you spread this gospel throughout the whole world and say, or be leaders and say, I know y'all under us, but y'all ain't going to be killing each other. This is how you know they're of Satan. That's how you know. Why are we killing each other? The biggest difference is you created an identity to say that you were the people of God, even painted pictures and used media, used books. Then here we go. Media, books, we're slaves hanging on trees. We're hung upside down. We're burnt animals. This is what they did to us. Now look at you. You're lynched. You're all messed up. So what do we have to look up to? Laws done away with. So you know what that do? They turn us to fight one another. Because there's no culture. There's no laws in place. And in their books, they tell you, if you walk up on the side and the goy is on his side, you must turn to the other side. Which is not true because I see them all the time. And some of them are actually really, act pretty cool. They don't do all that. Job 9:24. Let me go on down to 6. Let me go to 16. His mischief shall return upon his own head, and his violent dealings shall come down upon his own pate, which goes back to his head. Like Haman, all those things he did is going to come back to bite him in the behind. And maybe that's not a good choice of words for them, because the way they go down, get down. Anyway, yeah, what are missiles? Job 9:24, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Everybody knows this in Israelite 101, but we must keep reading it, you know. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, who is he? This is not only just covering the depictions. This is straight lying and saying that you were the people of the Most High. You covered them and said it was you. The most cowardly act, if anybody ever had identity theft done, right, which I got caught up in the past on both sides, it's the worst act you can possibly commit on anybody. You lose all form of identity with identity theft. You lose all rights to your own life with identity theft. You can Google that, it'll tell you that. You become psychologically, destroyed to some degree because of identity theft that wasn't even your fault. And this is how crafty and sneaky Esau was. He's so much a hatred and want the birthright, or mad about selling it, that he wants it back so bad that he's going to try to supplant us and trick us back to getting it. Well, the bad news is Romans 9 tell you that they don't even read. The Lord will have mercy on whom he have mercy. 2 Thessalonians 2. Let's see what it says. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. I never looked it up in the lexicon. Let's see what it say. It just says son of destruction. So, well, yeah. Son of destruction. Real quick, the first thing the average Edomite look at so-called black people and Jake, and they'll say they're the grimiest, the meanest, the most violent, the most nastiest people on the face of the planet. And it does look that way. But behind the scenes, you got people who will build atom bombs, splitting the atoms. And then they never stop there once they destroyed some land masses and burn people out of existence. Then they start going to nuclear infusion, going to the nucleus of the atom, right? And then creating a nuclear bomb. Now they're going on to the point they're trying to create a matter-antimatter bomb, where both positives and neurons, they kind of work together. Like, I know how to work on electronics to a degree. So in some of them, the rail voltage, they'll have either positive or negative running through them. Neutralize it. And that's really unheard of. This is what's happening. And if they go on, there would be no flesh to be saved. They'll create these matter bombs, ripping dimensions. They'll be doing all kinds of stuff. The stuff they're doing now is probably speeding up time, which the Lord is allowing that. While we walking in normal time, time is speeding up around us. And the Lord is allowing this to happen because guess what? We got to get out of here. There's nothing healthy here. These same people call us grimy. Like, they'll go in your neighborhoods because, to be honest, a lot of so-called black people are nasty. I mean, after all, we didn't come up like the average Edomite, privileged, and I'm saying as a nation, and taught right with missing fathers and parents and oppression. Yeah, and they'll pick up the trash and say, it's just dirty. We need a clean neighborhood. But they're same people that they look up to, their other Edomite fellow partners or leaders, have in the ocean lands full of trash floating in the ocean. Space trash. We never know what the hell is going to fall out of the ozone layer. It gets real bad. And all these cars they're building, there's not enough people to get in these damn cars, and they're scrapping them. Oh my gosh, what they're doing to the ecosystem. And then they're trying to go with lithium now, which is a source of energy. But you got the so-called little African boys climbing in little tunnels, pulling out lithium, which may have some radio type of activity to a degree, breathing that stuff in, and they risk their lives. And they'll give them $20 goddamn of American money, which will feed their family for a couple of weeks, maybe a month. But they'll bring it here and sell it for $1,000. Only Esau could do this. That's why I said he covereth the faces of the judges thereof. Only Esau can tell everybody else how wrong they are, right? Tell us that, no, we shouldn't retaliate for what happened to us in slavery. It's over with. So then they set up an ADL, give us a BS NAACP, hook it up with their own and different factions of people running it. Now, nobody else is running their stuff. And they'll give us all these things and say, well, you know, it's what it is. Don't hate, love. We all going through it. But they run the NBA and WNBA and all the sports and all the entertainment funded by ghost companies. Yeah, I know all that. So it's weird how hypocritical that they call us this hate group, but they're bombing innocent children in Lebanon in hospitals. What's up with that? Because we call them what they are, and the Lord set them up to do that. That's all I have on that. Shalom.